pulled a classic Charles this morning and started on the wrong live stream. My apologies, guys. Good morning to you. It's Monday, November 22nd. My name is Charles, and this is the Pirate Traders live stream. All right, well, I'm going to jump right into it because the market's going to open in 2 minutes. We are opening inside the previous day's range, so we're looking for chop, okay? There's a lot of support in here from the overnight just below us around 47.09. So overnight inventory is net long. We'll be looking for a little bit of a counter auction to the downside, but seeing if it can find support in that area. Okay, so just expect chop and rotation unless we get above yesterday's high, in which case we could look for continuation higher. I wanted to start off this morning just talking about something that we had mentioned quite a bit last week, which was the idea of a larger balancing area being in play. And I'm beginning to think that that's not going to happen again, that the last pullback that we had was the last big downward move the market needed. And here is why. Because this overnight was clearly a look above and fail of that balancing area. And this is as far down as the market. So actually, this is wrong. This should be over here. Must be a glitch in the software this morning. But anyway, we had no really substantial pullback after we had that look above and fail. And then again, on Friday, we looked above that range once more, pulled back down, and we didn't get a sell-off to the opposite end of balance, which would have been down here. So the fact that the overnight spent the entire weekend up here, again, staying up above these levels, is the first indication that we don't need to trade back down to the opposite end of balance, which obviously sets us up for a breakout of balance to the upside. So if we can get above yesterday's high here in the regular trading hours and get continuation from there, it could be a very bullish move due to the fact that we are breaking out of balance, right? Balance leads to excess, so the breakout could be pretty strong. And the market is open. There we go. That fixed it. I don't know why the overnight was on the wrong side of the profile there. But anyway, so now you can more clearly see we looked above, failed back in, but we didn't trade to the opposite end of balance. We looked above again, failed back in, but didn't trade to the opposite end of balance. So that happening multiple times is just a signal that the market might be ready to break out to the upside here. It obviously still could. It could always pull back today. That's not impossible. But in my mind, the higher probability today is either sideways or higher. Okay, so right out the gate, the market's pushing above yesterday's high. That is bullish. We got no counter auction whatsoever to the downside. What we're looking for now is support around yesterday's high. We're looking for new buyers to start to step in here at these higher prices. It's a little too early to make a call on the ticks and everything with the overnight inventory being net long, so we may have to be patient and just give the market a few minutes here before the signal can be crystal clear. And obviously the first target to the upside is going to be that weak overnight high. Anytime the overnight market makes an all-time high, the regular trading hours needs to come back and repair it at some point. So we're looking for support around yesterday's high and then a push up at least to there, if not continuation higher. All right, so here's the area we're looking for support. Do the buyers start to step in here? Again, it's a little tricky because the internals they have to absorb because the overnight inventory was net long. They need to kind of pull back first, no matter what. And so we're looking for where do they start to push, where do the ticks and the advancers versus decliners start to turn around and push back up. But it's not bearish to see them like this is the point. That's just absorbing the overnight inventory. If yesterday's high does fail, first potential support below is going to be this node of volume from the overnight. So that's between like 47.10 and 47.07. If we start to break below that, we'll pull a little bit further down into yesterday's range, looking for support. But right now, they're holding up on yesterday's high. We're starting to see some buyers on those ticks. All right, well, I am bullish as long as we stay above yesterday's high. I think we're going to get some continuation here. We got that nice target of the overnight high above. All right, good morning to you, Rad. Welcome. Mangala, thumbs up. Thank you so much. 28 likes. Come on, we can do better than that. There's 88 people here. Let's start the week with a smile. Push that thumbs up for a while. I don't know why I say for a while. It just rhymed. Just push the thumbs up very quickly. You don't have to hold the button down. Vincent, good morning to you. Nor Auto Trader is back. Good to see you. Brian, good morning. Live long, Jerome. Has there been news on that? Or are you just optimistic he's going to stay in charge? Nicholas, good morning to you. Two Manifs, good morning. Henry, good morning to you. Philip, good to see you. David, welcome. J Trader, good morning. Amir, good to see you. Welcome. Scooball, hello. Joe Park, good night. Good night to you, brother. John Zip. Not sure what I'm supposed to take from that. Zip to you as well. Ray, good morning. He's in Atlanta this morning. Joe Park, good evening. Mangala, are you sick? What's with that emoji? Brian, it was announced at 9 a.m. Well, there you go. That money printer going to keep going burr. Oh, man, it's 11:30 in Korea? No sleep for you, I guess. All right, so once again, I stay bullish as long as we stay above yesterday's high. Also, the NQ looked very, very bullish earlier this morning. Oh, yeah. Had a gap and go yesterday. Got continuation in the overnight, and we got another gap and go this morning. So the NQ is feeling very bullish in blue skies, clearly trending higher. Looking good. Multiple gaps below, though. It will need to come back down and repair them eventually, but certainly not this morning. Blue skies. Looking good on the Q. All right, back to the ES. Danielle, good morning to you. Mediterra is seeing a target at 47.3250 to the upside. So the first place I'll be looking for support if we pull back here is right at that halfback, 47.1675, which is the overnight high, and then yesterday's high. Screwball, I don't know why you guys keep asking about my trades. You know, I don't like talking about it. But I did put a buy order in there, but it didn't quite get back down to it. When it pulled back down for support, it actually just got a few ticks above the high. You can see the lowest node is actually right at the high. So that didn't fill. So I caught one a little bit higher at market, and then that just got stopped out on the pullback for a point of profit. And then I re-entered at the halfback. So right now I'm going to go ahead and pull my stop back above the halfback and targeting that all-time high. But no more talking about my trades. Mina, where is the POC? Well, at the moment, the point of control is right here at just a tick below the halfback at 47.1675. But honestly, it does not matter. The point of control doesn't matter at all in the first half hour of the day. The only time you really want to pay attention to that is once you get the signal that the market is rotational. Beyond that, it's really no big deal. It's not something to think about. And so far, this market is giving us the, all right, well, there was the profit. That was quick. Right now, the market is giving us the signal that it might want to trend higher today. So I'm not worried about the POC at all. We need to break last week's AH highs. I assume you mean all-time highs. Yeah, I mean, well, that's the point that I was trying to make with getting above yesterday's high is, to me, that is a breakout of a larger balancing area, right? I don't worry too much about overnight highs. Just give my computer a second to catch up here. Come on, buddy. You can do it. Okay. So this right here was a larger balancing area. It was very quick. It was only a couple of days of balance. But breaking out above that balancing area yesterday, or on Friday, should have caused a rotation to the opposite end. And because we didn't get that, it means the market is likely to get continuation higher today. So as long as we stay above yesterday's high, to me, that is confirmation of the breakout. And, you know, when you have balance, balance leads to excess. So continuation to the upside does not seem unreasonable. So if you're not in the trade already long, and you're like, oh no, Charles, am I going to miss this? Are we going to trend higher all day? And I'm going to miss this trade? Look to buy dips. Look for support. So when we get above the overnight high, do we come back down and find support there? That's an entry. If we continue to trend higher, every time we get a dip that finds support, that's an entry. Until we get the cessation on time framing. Let's go Christmas rally. Yep, we do get those rallies in the December. It's a quite common. Two Manifs, I don't know what pin bar is. So I have no opinion on it. Okay, so once again, now that we've pushed above the overnight high, that previous all-time high, we're looking to buy dips. Where does it find support when it pulls back down? Smash the like button if you like new all-time highs. First thing on a Monday morning. Come on. Get it. Get you some. Okay, Manifest is saying this is the area that he was targeting earlier. If you were in the trade, it's a great trade, brother. Knocked it out. But we got momentum here. We got buyers. We got enthusiasm and excitement. Definitely got a little FOMO. Got a little short covering. But, like I said, dips will be buyable. If they can dip back down, build support, you can get in with the momentum. You don't have to sit by all day and watch it run away from you. Danielle calling for a good trend day here. So far, so good. What do we look for on a trend day, right? They build volume, they push higher, they build volume, they push higher, and then what are we starting to do? Getting some candles, building volume. Screwball. Yeah, but we don't count any of those, okay? We're not worried about Europe or Asia or any of them. We only care about New York. All those overnight highs do is just give us targets to the upside, which obviously the NQ took out without breaking a sweat this morning. Jesus. Okay, yes, NQ, very bullish. All right, starting to look like a trend day. Note of volume, push higher, note of volume, push higher, note of volume. That is a sign of new buyers stepping in. They're excited. They got to have it. Give me my NQ. Vincent, look out 4,800. I think we got a while to go before we get there. So one way to look at a breakout of a balance area is that you'll do like the same size as the balance area. So 71, it's roughly 40 points. So 40 points from, we'll call it 47.10 would be 47.50. That is a more reasonable, and it doesn't have to go straight up to there, but a more reasonable place for the market to go over the next day or two. Keeps on pushing. Yeah, it keeps on pushing. So on a pullback now, we can hope that this node right here will act as support. So somewhere between like 29 and 26. Yeah, I saw that 47 level right here. We don't like seeing those little cliffs like that. Because if it breaks, if it were buyers there and it breaks to the downside, it wasn't buyers though. There was more sellers than buyers there. So, but yeah, if that level breaks, we might get a little further pullback here. Okay, ticks are starting to pull back. So the buyers are getting a little overbought here. Pushed it a little too far, a little too fast. Okay, so once again, the first support on this pullback is going to be right around this 28 level in this node of volume we created there. If not at that overnight high, 47.2350. Do have some thin volume in here that needs backfilling. There's only 120 162 contracts right above that overnight high. So it would make sense for the market to need to come down there and backfill that a little bit before getting continuation higher. Peter, could you guys hear that dog? Yeah. Yeah, the neighbors in the building on the bottom floor have two dogs, and sometimes they fight with each other. I think one of them just like bit the other one or something. Normally it's playful fighting, but I guess today somebody got a little too rough. All right, well, man, this is a strong trend here. Barely any pullback at all, and we are getting continuation higher in the B period. This is short covering, no doubt about. But the trend is has begun. Value is higher. We pulled the POC higher. That's another sign of a trend. So looking for strong support to buy here, as they can keep on pushing. I do urge people to keep in mind, though, this thin volume down here needs to be backfilled at some point. We don't often leave a level with only 160 contracts. It's very, very rare. The market doesn't come back down to put in some more volume. So if you're going to get long, use a tight stop and wait for the dip. Don't buy the exuberance. Philip, bunch of single prints, ES and NQ. Yeah, the single prints don't stand out to me as being that big of a deal because that's now just a selling tail. So the more the better, really, because it's excess to the downside. But the thin volume definitely stands out to me as something to keep in mind. Oh man, I forgot I marked that. Now I messed it all up. Yeah, so it's the same story right at the overnight high in the NQ as well. They got very thin volume. Now, whether they'll get back down there today, I don't know, because they've built a lot of volume above it. So they got multiple great supports above there, including this one right at halfback, 16,696, that area. But on the ES, that does stand out at me as needing to backfill a little bit. But the momentum, they keep doing it, right? They keep pushing the market higher, bringing in volume, pushing market higher, bringing in volume. That is a trend. don't want to fight the trend. Joe Park doesn't seem like they're going to look for any support. Amazed. Well, yeah, it's a matter of momentum, but I do think they need to pull back a little bit here. We're getting some taper at the high, and then this little node of volume that was support is now becoming resistance. So, yeah, ticks are pulling back. So right now, there's those FOMO buyers who missed their chance down here are kind of desperately buying, but I do think we need to pull back into some support. To me, buying this at this moment feels like FOMO. But That's the thing about a trend, man. It'll blow your mind how far they'll push it. They'll just keep pushing it. Jitten says bull. Market. Uh, it's a bull market, you know. Yeah, both the ES and the Q all-time highs. The Q on 2 gap and goes in a row. That is a sign of momentum, man. That is clear momentum. 2 gap and a go in a row. So I couldn't tell you why they're so bullish, but they are bullish. Scooball got my part of the cake, meaning I assume you took profits, or does that mean you're in a position? Look at Apple. Good old Apple. Yeah, it looks just like the NQ. Apple just pumping. Yeah, it's like it almost looks exactly like the NQ. Crazy. Someone in the chat, what percentage of the NQ is Apple? It's a pretty big chunk, right? It's like, am I wrong? It's like 8% or something. Help me out. No, that seems a little high. Really? 9% of the queue? That seems high. Wow. Well, that would explain it. 6% of the ES. And all they make is computers and cell phones and watches. Imagine when they're making cars and when they become a major player in the TV and film world. Two man ifs, their values and status, absolutely. And they're sitting on a giant pile of cash. It's a safe company to invest in because you know they're not going to go out of business anytime soon. And they pay dividends. Not a lot, but they do pay dividends. All right, guys. Well, I still think this thing's running out of steam. We're getting good taper at the high. Ticks are starting to pull back down towards that zero line. So I feel like this market needs a pullback. Looking for support. And I'd love to get it in the B period so that we can have found support somewhere in here by the time we print the C, which would be bullish for continuation. Not even a negative tick so far. That is true. And the advancers versus decliners made a rapid recovery. Okay, another little short covering pop as we make new all-time highs. So now this node can become support. Now that we've pushed above it, we'll watch the ticks when we pull back down into that node now. If they turn around and start pushing higher, it's support. Peter, now I'm scared. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You know, there's nothing wrong with looking at this and saying, it's gone too far. I wouldn't be done for the day, though, like I said. You know, a gap and go on the NQ is the first step generally in a day that will trend higher for a long time, for hours and hours and hours. So if they give you a pullback that you feel like is decent, if they give you the dip, it's not, you know, insane to buy it, looking for this thing to continue. But being cautious up at these levels is definitely wise. All right, well, they just pulled back down to the very top end of this node, and I click back to look at the ticks, and they're pushing again. So I think they're buying for another push higher. To my shock and awe. Oh boy, yeah, gold had a bit of a pullback this morning. So if you don't find support in here in these previous highs, right where we are now, you can look for support when you get back to that trend line. Actually just made, oh no, I just deleted all my other supports. Oh well. I actually just made a social post about this over the weekend, that when you break out of a formation like this, the best trading opportunity is to wait for the pullback that finds support on that trend line where it breaks out. It rarely just breaks out and goes straight up. It often comes back down, finds support. That's the good entry for the trade, because then it can go from there. If you trade gold. Okay, ticks working their way back down to that zero line. If they start to get below there, it's a sign we've run out of buyers up here. This taper has showed us that the buyers have run out and they need a larger pullback, looking for support. Second level that just popped out at me as only having 113 contracts. Very high probability that needs to backfill, just like the one down here with 160. Well, Charles, if you feel like the market needs to pull back, why aren't you just shorting it up here? Isn't this a great place to go short? Absolutely not. Not in a million years will you get me short in this market. Not with the momentum to the upside, with the trend to the upside. It is a much, much safer bet to buy support on the pullback than try to short it. Because these FOMO buyers can step in anywhere and turn it around and start pushing it up again. So even though I see the taper, even though I'm looking at those ticks, I still would never short it up here. I'd either go long with a tight stop or I'd wait for a pullback to go long in support. I always trade in the direction of the momentum, not against it. Danielle, when it starts looking like a trend day, never take off all your size. Yeah, that's a great idea, you know. You got to get in with all your size because trend days often offer the highest reward to risk once the trade starts moving in your direction. But yeah, you don't have to take profits on a full position. You can always leave a runner. Yeah, I mean, if I was going to go long right here, my stop would be like right there. I wouldn't let it. If it starts to get back below this node right here, it's definitely got to backfill this level here and then look for support below. And it really needs to do it right now because if we print the C period and then pull back, we won't be one time framing higher. So that will be a sign there's no trend. So we really, if we're going to pull back, we need to do it now. That is, if we want the day to continue pushing higher. Trading Donkey, good to see you, brother. The 10-year bond yield is up 3%. Equalities. At all-time high. It's a clown market. Nunez, okay, great. I always have a problem figuring out stops when the market just starts running away from me. Yeah. It can be tough. The things that are catching my eye right now is the tempo, right? The market has slowed down. This morning it was just like boom, 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 pushing higher, higher, higher. And then when it got up into here, it's just slowed down and started grinding. So that's the first signal that momentum, that excitement, that feeling that the FOMO traders have of like, I got to get in a trade. I got to get in. That's beginning to wean here. So that's the first signal of like, okay, it's a little more dangerous to go long up here. And so then the ticks are sending me the next signal, right? They're getting pulled back to the zero line and now pulled below it. So that's just a further signal that like those buyers are running out. There are more sellers now than buyers. And so one signal at a time, it's starting to feel to me like the market needs to pull back. And it's not good that they're waiting until the C period to do it because that will be a clear sign that that trend is over, that momentum is over. So if the C period starts to trade below that B period low, I'd look for the market to just be going sideways the rest of the day, not necessarily continuing the trend higher. All right, so now that we got the C period printed, we're looking, can we keep that C period low above that B period low? Okay, as long as we can, the market can continue to push higher. That is a trending market. But if that C period low gets 2 ticks below that B period low, that is a sign that the market will just go sideways for the rest of the day. The market is one time framing higher. Or if you're super cautious and you need to see the breakout above the initial balance, we'd have to get the C period higher to officially be one time framing higher. But clearly there is a trend. Donkey, don't know why they see Powell staying as a bullish development. The devil you know? I don't know, man. That's why I don't trade fundamentals. Never seems to work out the way you think it would. You think, oh, if they pick Powell, the market will pull back because he's less dovish, but then it pushes higher. So it's easier for me to go off technicals rather than fundamentals. But with that, I must bid you all farewell. Thank you so much for watching today. Thank you for those 60 likes. And we will see you tomorrow morning. If you're a member of the Brigade, head on over to that private stream, and I will see you there. If you're not, you can join anytime. You're welcome. It's $10 a month. That is one single tick on the ES. If you can imagine, over an entire month, I might give you one single idea that'll make you a tick or stop you from losing a tick. Well, then it's a great investment. All right, guys, thank you so much, and I will see you here tomorrow morning. Link in the description if you want to join the Brigade.